Hi, everyone, and welcome to the World Outsourcing Solutions Podcast. Today's interview is sponsored by www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. And the title of our interview is How to Get Started with Virtual Teams, an interview with Yeukai Kajidori. My name is Catherine Bulena, and today I'm talking with a virtual teams expert, Yeukai Kajidori, about how he got started with virtual teams and providing virtual assistant services to a global community. So welcome, Yeukai Kajidori.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeukai is a well-known expert on the subject of virtual teams and has graciously consented in this interview to share his extensive knowledge and experience with business owners. Thank you again, Yeukai, for joining us on this live interview.
Awesome. It's great to be here.
So first of all, we'd like to get to know you. Would you tell us about your background, your education, and your experience in virtual teams?
Yes, would love to. Now, my experience with virtual teams is self-taught initially, and then later on I attended seminars and did a lot of study, got a lot of mentorship from others who had been doing this for a long time. Now, my educational background is I studied accounting and qualified as an accountant here in England. And when I finished, my university, I decided to work for a company. In fact, I was very privileged, fortunate that I ended up working for Vodafone, one of the leading companies here in the UK. I actually worked at the head office in a place called Newbury, which is not too far from where I am now. I'm in London. But within a year, I had realized that, accounting and being in an office was not really ideal for me. It wasn't agreeing with me. So I did what every entrepreneur normally did, is to get up and look out for, what was going to make me happy. I think it was Elle Nightingale who said the people that get ahead in life are the people that, get up and look for the circumstances they want. And if they can't find them, they make them happen. So I happen to be one of those individuals that actually make it happen when I can't find the circumstances I want. So what I did back then is I left Vodafone and I decided to partner with my auntie to create a recruitment company. And we were fortunate enough during that time that our company grew exponentially to a point that we had people needing our services than the actual people to put to work. So I did what every business owner would do, is I turned to the internet and seminars and education to see if there was another way that we could get help by finding people that we were going to put to work. And I remember back then I went to a seminar which was being run by a gentleman that I respect, Mark Anastasi. It was on traffic generation, internet marketing. And one of the topics that he covered back then was all about outsourcing. How to leverage the expertise, the knowledge of other people to build your own organization, of course, ethically. And within a week of me attending that seminar, I actually hired my very first virtual employee. And of course, the rest is history. Looking back now, a journey that has lasted over the last 6 years. I now use my this service for my own company. And now I actually teach other business owners and provide the service to other business owners globally now, with clients in Australia, Canada, of course the United States, and here where I'm based in United Kingdom. So in a nutshell, that's my background in working with virtual teams.
That's amazing, Yeukai. During those early years when you're beginning or just building your virtual teams business, have you had any major difficulties or challenges that you've had to face? Would you tell us about that?
Absolutely. Now, any business owner in the audience would relate to this, that when you set out to start a business, you go through stages of learning about that business, and during those stages of learning, you meet struggles and disappointments, and some happy moments as well. I will just cover those 4 stages. So when you're learning a new thing, you go through a stage where you don't know what you don't know. So when I was getting into the virtual teams or to the outsourcing sphere, I actually didn't know a lot of things. I didn't know that I had to know how to motivate people working 1,000 miles away from where I am. I didn't know that I had to know how to not to micromanage people. I didn't know how to communicate effectively with people. And of course, not knowing all these things have a lot of setback. So what that meant was I lost a lot of great people because I didn't talk to them well, or I didn't pay them proportionately to what they deserve, because many of them had tremendous skills, but I ended up losing them because I didn't know how to motivate them. I didn't know how to keep them on the same page. So those were setbacks. And then I moved on to the next stage of learning, which is you now know what you don't know. And in my experience, and in working with thousands of entrepreneurs now and wannabe entrepreneurs, is a lot of people give up at that stage because they discover that they have to know how to motivate people. They have to know how to communicate better, how not to micromanage people. There's a whole lot of things that you develop. So they say, oh, this is too big for me, I'm not going to do that. So I faced that stage. I had to overcome my own disbelief. I had to be persistent. I had to, keep going, really, and persevere in the journey. And then I move on to the 3rd stage of learning, which is where you are now competent, but you have to put a lot of effort to remember what you're doing. And at that stage, I've faced other types of difficulties in running teams, going against the norm, trying to implement that. There were other challenges of that, the currents, the management systems to use, the tools to use, how to pay people, and all those sort of things. And of course, now I'm at that stage, which is the 4th level of learning, which is when you become unconsciously competent. You are so good that you take certain things for granted, which others think is too difficult. And without blowing my own trumpet, I've been because of these 6 years of working, I can now develop a team within a very short space of time and get everyone on the same page as where what we're trying to do, fairly straightforward. I couldn't do that 6 years ago, but now I can do that. So I have had to face challenges, change the mindset and a whole lot of things for me to be where I am today.
That's so amazing. Thank you so much for summing up your experience when it comes to virtual teams, Yeukai. I'm just really curious. I'm sure there have been many, changes since you first built your company. How is the world of virtual teams different now than when you first got started?
That's a great question, Catherine. Things have really moved on from looking back from when I started, because when I started, not so many people were using virtual teams. I can remember I used Odesk at the time, and it was there wasn't any personal interaction. Well, there was personal interaction, but there wasn't that loyalty. So you would submit your job, and people would do that, and then they go, and you find somebody else. If you need something else done, they will do that piece of job like a contract base. That worked for a long time. It still does work in certain circles, but what has changed significantly is the rise of offshore organization. So rather than having somebody work on your project for a short period of time and then they go, you now have an employee who is part of your organization, who understands your culture, what you're trying to do in your organization, the ins and out of it, but they're just across the pond. So in that regard, things have moved on from just using virtual assistants or virtual services as a one-off to actually saying, I want this person to be part of my organization for a long time. And of course, if they know what you're trying to achieve, they're going to use their creativity to participate in going after your goal, and it's much easier. That's number one. Number two, I remember back then when we were starting out, you just had to hire somebody, and there was no accountability. If that person didn't like you, they would just disappear. They won't reply to your messages, or they will send you a message say, "Oh, my child is is in a hospital." That's one day. The following day, I have high fever. The following day is I have an emergency. Or they don't work with you. Some of those reasons why they don't work is because in the beginning I didn't know how to communicate with them, so they would go and work with somebody who was able to communicate with them fairly well. Now, that was back then. Now, like what we do with World Outsourcing Solution, when you hire a virtual assistant, you actually get two virtual assistants working on your project. You get a project manager and the person who actually implements what it is that you want done. What that has done, or the main difference between that strategy and the strategy we used back then in 2010 and 11 is when you have two people working on you, you have accountability. So people cannot just disappear. Of course, they still disappear if they want to. You can't stop them, but it reduces the chances of people just disappearing, people not doing the tasks they're supposed to do. There is that accountability. There is a relational code of conduct, which is not written down, but it actually exists. So that's a bonus. That's a later development which I see among outsourcing companies today. I hope that answers your questions.
Yes, Yeukai, thank you for that. I actually have a follow-up question. Since you were talking about how it was difficult for you then to track, the accountability and everything else about your virtual team or just your virtual employee. If you were to do it all over again today, what would you do differently?
Absolutely. Knowing what I know now, that's a great question, Catherine, is I wouldn't go solo. Let me just track back for a moment. When I went to that seminar and I had Mark Anastasia teaching about hiring somebody, just go on Craigslist, Manila, Craigslist, whatever. I wouldn't do it that way because there is no security. It worked back then, but right now I would go through a company that has a track record, that has testimonials, have reviews, that they've been doing this for a long time. Here's why. If you just go with somebody who is getting started, you're going to pay a lot more in terms of time, because you're going to have to train that person, you're going to motivate that person, you're going to bring that person to work in a certain culture. It is more on your part. You're giving a lot more. But when you go through a company, an established company that has been doing that, it has tested ways that works. They've got the systems in place. They've got the culture in place. They've got the motivation in place. They also have accountability in place. For example, just talking about my company, World Outsourcing Solutions. We have all those things so that when a client comes in, they don't have to worry about those things. They just plug into an existing system. It has clearly defined lines of communication, clearly defined expectations from both the virtual employee and also from the project manager. So you come into something that is already laid out. So I would say, if you are getting started, rather than to go alone and do it I know it may sound cheap in the beginning when you're getting started, but you're going to pay a whole lot more in terms of time, in terms of, by time I mean wasted time, because you take that person and then 3 months down the line, that person is gone. You haven't got somebody else to train to do that. Compare that with an established company, for example, like what we do at World Outsourcing Solutions. The project manager knows what the virtual assistant is doing. What that means for you as a client is if the virtual assistant happened to leave for whatever reason, or they're ill, or anything has happened to them, the project manager steps in and carry on the work that is being done. Here's what that means to you. It means there is continuity of work on your part. You don't have to stop, or your project doesn't have to stop because somebody steps in right there to do that sort of work. Also, you don't have to go and recruit that person, go through that painful experience, put the job ads online, do the interviews, and then you train them and all that. You don't have to do all that because you now have a project manager who knows that. They know what it is that you want. So when they're going to recruit somebody with the right set of skills and train them, and then put them in the place where the other virtual assistant was, and there is continuity of work on your part.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'm sure that a lot of our business owners in our audience can appreciate and learn from what you're saying about virtual teams. And I totally agree that it's best to go through a company rather than going out there and wasting, like you said, wasting your time and your money on things that you're not sure of.
That's
so
right.
Thank you for that, Yeukai. Now, what do you think are the things that business owners should focus on when it comes to outsourcing or looking for a company that can best help them with outsourcing?
Excellent. I'm going to answer this first of all by giving an example of a situation I had with a potential client. As you know, we do all these marketing things to reach out to people, and most of our marketing strategies are very, very powerful. They make people realize that outsourcing really and truly is the fastest way to cut your overheads down and increase your income at a very, very short space of time, especially if you do it well. So we did a webinar explaining that, and I showed people, exactly how that works out and how people can do that. And then this particular gentleman came to me and said, "Look, I want an outsourcer right now." And I said, "Yes, you certainly can have an outsourcer right now." But what this potential client of mine didn't realize was for outsourcing to work, it takes two parts playing full out. You as a business owner needs to be very clear what it is that you want to outsource, so that your virtual assistant will know exactly what they need to do. Because if you as a business owner are not clear on what you want done, it will be all confusion on the part of the virtual assistant. You see, because one day you give one set of instruction, and then tomorrow you come back and give them another set of instruction. You are deviating from what we want consistently, so it will be confusing for the person who is implementing. So what I would say to somebody who is looking to outsource, I would say, look, before you jump on to engage the service of a virtual assistant, be absolutely clear what it is that you want to have. Clarity is power, as one of my mentors put it, because if you can see it clearly, you can change it effectively, and you can get somebody to work on it effectively the way you want it to be. By the way, when we're talking of virtual assistant and outsources, there are two types of outsource. Number one, you can outsource a particular service to an expert who is trained primarily in that, who's a profession in that. For example, doctors. So when you go to see a doctor, you are outsourcing that part into your life, and you let them do their thing. You don't get into their way and say do it this way. Imagine you go to the doctor and say, oh, that's not how you cut you do the operations. You can't do that. That's an expert. When you outsource like we do in business, they're expert in implementation, not strategy. A doctor is a strategist. You're still outsourcing, but they are strategists. They are the brains. But when you are doing business outsourcing, for example, managing your social media, email marketing, internet marketing, and all those wonderful things, you are literally delegating your task to somebody who just implement your strategy. Of course, they can be strategists because they've been working online for so long, so they know what works and what doesn't work. I'm privileged to work with people like that. But primarily, outsourcers, they implement an existing process. So if you are very clear on what you want done and you have a clear process that needs to be implemented, you are going to have a great time with outsourcing. But if you don't have that clarity and you don't have the processes in place of how things are to be done, when you engage the service of an outsource or a virtual assistant, it is not going to produce a great result for you, because you just are not there yet. And as a direct result of me figuring this out, I created a resource which we call the time log, which is available to the audience, if they want to use it. It's a tool that I created which enables you to identify the task that you do daily in your own organization and how you do that task, and you put it in you just fill in this particular tool, and once you fill in, at the end of the day, you will know what task you need to outsource. You have absolute clarity, and you know how to do that. And by the way, this tool is geared to help you identify the critical elements within your business that are income generating, that you want to hold on to, and then other tasks which are not directly income generating but equally is important. For example, managing your social media and CRM, managing your relations and customer services. This simple tool, I cannot tell you how many clients have been so grateful that they took some time, probably 15-20 minutes of filling this particular tool, and you know exactly what to outsource, and the level of skill of the person you're to outsource to should have or must have for them to do the job effectively, and how all this is going to work together to get you to the goal. So you can actually free yourself from doing everything. And I can guarantee you, Catherine, for the audience, for the business people in our audience today, that right now you are probably doing many things that you can give to a virtual assistant to do for you. But because you don't know or you haven't used the particular tool we have, you just don't know which is the first thing to give them to do for you. You're caught up, that needs to be done, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to push yourself to do it because it needs to be done. If it's not done, you're losing out, or things are not going to work. That's why you need to use the help of outsourcers.
Mm-hmm. I can tell that you're really, really passionate about helping business owners with freeing up their time so that they can do other things that are important. So
right.
I just want to ask at this time, Yeukai, for those people or business owners who have never experienced virtual outsourcing before, how can they best get their news and updates if ever they decide to hire a virtual team?
That's another great question, Catherine, there. I'm a big believer in modeling success. I was listening to Tony Robbins not long ago, where he was teaching on the fastest way to get to where you want to be is to find people who've been there and follow the plan they used to get where you want to be. Really easy. And here's the thing: in school, we are told copying is terrible. Don't copy, and you get punished for that. And we're trained that you're not supposed to copy. You're not supposed to copy. But in business, it works the other way around. There's no need for you to invent the wheel. See what is already being done and add a little bit to it to differentiate yourself, and you make it big. So what I do is I model other successful people. And the simple definition of creativity is you bring two things that don't belong to each other to create one thing that belongs. So when you're modeling success, or you want to know how to do success, to do outsourcing effectively, find the people that are already outsourcing right now and that are experiencing success, model what they're doing, and then add just a simple an additional dimension to it, and you have a real winner. That's what business is all about. Let me ask you, Catherine, how many types of phones do you have? Yes, these different types of phones. They used to be
A lot. A lot.
Samsung, iPhone, and all that. They all do the same thing. If you are to scrape them, they have the core functionalities are the same, but they have just a tiny bit of difference. Maybe a new app on it. Maybe it's a touch screen. Maybe it has a cover. Maybe all those things. They're just tiny bit. It's the same thing when it comes to business. It's the same business of trying to help people have a better lifestyle, or create employment. It's the same thing, but you just add a little spin on it, and you have a brand new thing. And the people that relate to that will come and would want to work with you, because that's what it is. So if you are a business owner getting started, you don't need to invent the wheel. There are tremendous, in fact, thousands of of outsourced providers out there that you can go and model and do whatever they're doing. And if you can't do that, engage the services of a professional company like ours, like World Outsourcing Solutions. You will be amazed at how much how fast things will change for your own organization. Let me tell you something. The number one reason why business owners don't get to what they know they can get to, or don't reach their goals, it's not lack of resources, it's not lack of people to help them, it's not lack of or a different government or economy, or politics or anything like that. The number one reason is themselves, the business owners. Now, what do I mean by that? The business owners, the way to deal with it is, if you can remove the business owner from the equation of success, and you plug a virtual assistant in there, or an expert's help in there, you'll be amazed at how fast you get your goal. Why is that? You may be wondering. You see, when you're working for yourself, you feel sorry for yourself. You work maybe 10 hours, and then something important needs to be done because you've been working for 10 hours. You're going to say, oh, I've been working all day, I'm not going to do that. And you don't do it. Because you feel sorry for yourself, and you let yourself off the hook quite often. But if you have an assistant helping you with that, they know, Catherine, they know that they need to do all the important things, regardless of how tired or how they've been worn out or whatever has been happening. They know, because they know if they don't do that, their boss or their employer is not going to be happy with them, and that could adversely affect their wages and all that. So if you were to look at it, and still on that one, so the virtual assistant or the expert, they will manage their time differently and wisely because they won't want to finish all the important aspects first before they're tired. Unlike you, if you're a business owner and you doing it all by yourself, you could get caught up doing all other things that you enjoy, and then when the real important things comes in, you're not ready to do that, you see. So if you can remove yourself from the equation of success and put somebody else there that is accountable, you will get to your goals faster, quicker, and easier than if you let yourself be there. I know that for myself. Here's one thing. I know if it is all left up to me, it is not going to be done because my mind, I'm a big thinker, one of them people. I see the big picture, we can do this. That's why I've got a business partner who is into small details, who say, oh, okay, that's a great idea. Come down to earth. If we look at this and that, this and that, and this and that. Let's see.
Yes. So that's amazing. There are a lot of things that you said. I agree so much. Like when you said that our business owners have to model success, and that's true. I believe that. And you don't even have to, be on the same industry as the one that you're modeling. Like you said, with business, it's okay to copy, and even if you have different, you're in different industry than other businesses that you're trying to copy, the system is there, and that system is being provided by companies like you who offer services
Absolutely.
to help business owners. That's amazing. Are there any other thoughts that you have that can help motivate our business owners to get started with virtual teams?
Absolutely. Look, the fact that you're listening to this audio recording, somehow tells me that you know the benefits of having some help. Here's the reality. If you don't get the help that you need at this time, you might be at the same place where you are tomorrow, today, next year, or the year after. Let me ask you a question. Are you happy with where your business is right now and where your business is going? If you don't take action right now and get the assistance from the people that are doing every time, really at the cost of a cup of tea or a cup of coffee in Starbucks, what is it going to cost you? Well, if your answer is not a great place, this is the time for you to get a virtual assistant or to get somebody to help you. Because if you don't get someone to help you, you are not going to get to those goals that which you must get to, and your family is not going to get any better. Your business is not going to get any better until you begin to use the services which are available for you today. Look, I know what it is like to be scared and to think, okay, is this going to work or is this not going to work? And it's fine to have those thoughts, but you have to, you're in business now. Business is not easy, because if it was easy, everyone else would be doing it. But you are in business now, you have already overcome the biggest hurdle, that fear of going to business. You might as well go ahead and learn to trust other people to take care of some aspects of your business. You doing it all alone is not going to help you. Now, if bigger companies are using virtual assistants, what does that tell you where the world is going today? Well, for me, it tells me that this is where the world is going. So if you are serious about your business and your business going forward, and you making more money and making a difference in the world, you want to learn how to delegate, and you want to make sure that you learn how to use the services that are available for people today, among which include the virtual assistant. It is not difficult. It is straightforward. But of course, in the beginning, it's not easy, because you have to learn certain skills, and that learning is just a small part. And the beautiful thing about that is, once you've learned the skills that are necessary, you cannot unlearn this. These are the skills that are going to be with you forever and ever, unless something, of course, terrible happens. So you will learn how to deal with the teams. In fact, I was talking to one of my the experts, Daniel, the gentleman I interviewed at the podcast, which we do as well for business owners. If you are not aware of that, if you go to worldoutsourcingsolutions.com/podcast, you get to listen to hundreds of interviews we've done now for talking to other experts, people who are doing it, business owners. So I was talking to him, and if you don't do this, or outsource or learn to delegate, you are just going to stay in one place, and that's not where you want to be. Learn to do these things slowly but surely, one step at a time. You will transform your business, and also you will get to reap the benefits of what it is that you are setting out to be, and you'll be forever grateful that you did that. That's what I would say to new potential business owners who are looking to outsource.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Yeukai, for your time today and for giving us such a great interview. I'm sure all the business owners in our audience learned a lot on how to get started with outsourcing and building virtual teams. So can you tell us a little bit more about World Outsourcing Solutions?
Absolutely. Now, World Outsourcing Solution, I created this company to extend our services across the world. Because when I started serving the people in my local area and providing the service. Initially, it was called Easy Social Media, because we were focusing on social media management and all that. Then I quickly realized that business owners from all over the world need the services that we have. So we started providing virtual assistants and also podcast and many other training, just to help the business owners, especially those who are stages of running their own business. So the journey has been tremendous. Now we've got clients all over, Canada, of course, we are here in the UK, and a few over there in Zimbabwe, in Africa, where I'm from. Yes, so that's what we do. And if you are looking to outsource for the first time, you can go there, and we actually let people try the service for free for only 10 hours. Just absolutely free. You get in touch with one of the project managers who will look at the project that you have, do a 30 minutes consultation, help you identify what it is you want to outsource, structure it, and then get you a virtual assistant to begin with, right on the go. So that's what we do. And I actually have got a gift, Catherine, if I may, to share with the people that are listening to this. Now, over the years of running an outsourcing company, as you may imagine, I've had to use different tools at different times throughout. And I've collected all these tools and put them in one place. We created a mind map that has all, the management tools, the communication tools, the softwares that we're using right now for social media and that we've used. And many of them are active. I've put it together, and it's available for free of charge for anyone who wants to get started. You can go to www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com/mind map. That again is www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com/mind map. You can request that. It will get you started easily. You can also get in touch with the project manager once you have had a look at the mind map, and the project manager will be able to point you out in the direction you want to go.
All right. Thank you again, Yeukai, for sharing your expertise and your experience so graciously. And of course, thank you to all the business owners in our audience for joining us today. My name is, again, Catherine Biolana, and thanks for joining us on the World Outsourcing Solutions podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure being here, and I look forward to hearing any feedback that people may have. By the way, you can actually send me an email. I love reading my emails. You can email Yeukai, that's Yeukai, at worldoutsourcingsolutions.com, and I personally would respond to you. I manage my own email, of course, but if you want the team to help you, just send an email to support at worldoutsourcingsolutions.com for any further assistance.
So again, thank you so much, Yeukai, and have a good day.
Awesome, and thank you everyone for listening, and also have a great day. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.